The forest whispered stories, soft and endless. Tales of starlight traveling across the sky, of rivers carving valleys over centuries, of mountains dreaming beneath blankets of snow. Each story was told not with urgency, but with the patience of eternity, reminding her that all things moved at their own gentle pace. Her eyelids grew heavy. She curled up beside the pool, the soft moss beneath her, a perfect bed. The last thing she heard before drifting into sleep was the whisper of the trees, low and melodic, singing her into dreams. When Ilara awoke, the forest was glowing with dawn. Pale shafts of sunlight filtered through the canopy, turning the mist into golden ribbons that drifted lazily between the trunks. She sat up slowly, the moss soft beneath her, and stretched, with a deep breath. The pool beside her shimmered in the morning light, its reflection now showing not the stars, but the gentle dance of clouds above. The forest was quiet, but not empty. It was a living silence, filled with the steady hum. She felt rested more deeply than she had in many nights of wandering. As she rose and adjusted her satchel, she heard the forest whisper again, this time softer, like a greeting carried on the breeze. Good morning, traveler. Ilara smiled faintly. Good morning. She followed a narrow path that seemed to appear of its own accord, winding between ferns and wildflowers that opened to greet the sun. As she walked, she noticed small details that made the forest feel alive in gentle ways. The leaves above caught the light like stained glass, glimmering with shades of emerald and jade. Tiny streams trickled quietly between roots, their waters clear as crystal. Birds with plumage like fragments of rainbow flitted between branches, their calls sweet and unhurried. Hours might have passed, or perhaps only minutes. Time seemed to lose its urgency in this place. Eventually, she came upon a great oak, its trunk wider than any she had ever seen. The patterns of light on its bark were stronger here, glowing in swirling shapes that seemed almost like constellations. As she approached, the whispers gathered stronger now, harmonizing like a gentle choir. You have walked far, the oak murmured, its voice deeper than the others. Oh, what is it you seek? Ilara paused, lowering her gaze to the forest floor as she thought. What had she been seeking all this time? She had left her village months ago, restless and unsatisfied, as though something important was missing. She had wandered through towns and fields, across rivers and over hills, but the answer had always seemed just out of reach. Finally, she whispered, The oak's voice rumbled softly, like distant thunder wrapped in velvet. Then you have come to the right place, for here you need not seek. Here you may simply be. The words settled over her like a blanket. For the first time in a long while, she felt no pressure to move forward, no urgency to prove or discover anything. She could simply stand in the forest, breathe its air, and let the silence fill her. The oak shifted, its branches creaking gently. A beam of sunlight fell at its roots, illuminating a small bed of white flowers. Their petals shimmered faintly, as though dusted with frost. Rest a while, the forest whispered. There is no hurry. Ilara knelt beside the flowers, brushing one with the tip of her finger. It released a faint fragrance, cool and calming, like rain on stone. She sat there for a long time, letting the stillness sink into her bones. As the sun climbed higher, she rose again and continued her journey deeper into the forest. The path carried her gently upward, leading to a hill where the trees opened into another clearing. From here, she could see far across the forest canopy, a vast sea of green stretching to the horizon. Mist drifted lazily between the treetops, and somewhere far away, she heard the faint rush of water, like a hidden waterfall. She made her way toward the sound. The whispers guided her gently, nudging her steps without force until she reached a narrow gorge. There, cascading down smooth stone, was a waterfall that gleamed like spun glass in the sunlight. The water tumbled into a wide basin, its surface rippling with rainbow light. Ilara approached slowly, drawn to its beauty. The sound of the falling water was soothing, steady, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. She dipped her hands into the pool, feeling its coolness wash over her skin. As she gazed into the water, she noticed something unusual. Reflected there among the ripples of light was not only her own face, but countless others, faces of people she had never seen, each gazing back with quiet serenity. Some were old, some young, some with eyes bright as stars, others lined with the wisdom of years. Yet all of them shared the same expression of calm. The whispers rose again, drifting from the water and the trees together. These are those who rested here before you to Their dreams flow through the forest still. In this place, no journey is forgotten. Every soul leaves behind a whisper, a memory, a gentle note in the song. Ilara touched the surface of the water, sending ripples across the reflections. "And will I too?" she asked softly. "Yes," the forest murmured. "One day, but not yet. For now, you walk, and we walk with you." A warmth spread through her chest, a sense of belonging she had long craved. She sat by the waterfall for hours, listening to its endless voice, watching the play of light on the water. Time lost its edge once more, flowing like the current before her, unhurried, eternal. When at last the sun began to dip low, casting the gorge in amber light, Ilara rose. She took one last look at the shimmering pool, then followed the soft whispers back into the embrace of the trees. Night was coming again, but she did not fear it. In the whispering forest, even the darkness was gentle. By the time Ilara had left the gorge behind, twilight had begun its slow descent across the forest. The light faded gently, as though the sun itself were reluctant to leave. The air cooled, carrying the faint scent of wild herbs that grew along the forest floor. As shadows lengthened, tiny lights began to appear among the branches. At first Ilara thought they were fireflies, but soon she realized they were something different. These lights drifted more slowly, hovering with grace, pulsing softly like lanterns carried on invisible strings. They gave the forest a dreamlike glow, casting ripples of gold and silver across the trunks. The whispers accompanied them, quiet and steady. "You are not alone. Walk gently, and the night will guide you." Ilara followed a narrow trail, her steps cushioned by soft moss. The lights floated just ahead, leading her onward. She felt no fear. The forest's embrace was complete, a vast comfort that surrounded her like a lullaby. After some time, she reached a meadow hidden deep within the trees. It was unlike any place she had seen before. The grass was long and silver, swaying in rhythm with the night breeze. Flowers glowed faintly, opening their petals to the stars. And above, the sky stretched wide and clear, the constellations sharp and brilliant, as though she had stepped into a place where the heavens touched the earth. At the center of the meadow stood a circle of stones, smooth and pale, their surfaces etched with delicate markings that glimmered faintly. Ilara walked toward them, curiosity stirring gently within her. She touched one stone, tracing its patterns with her fingers. They felt warm, alive, humming softly, as if holding a quiet heartbeat. The whispers grew clearer here, layered and melodic. "Oh, this is the dreamer's circle," the forest explained. "Here, those who wander may pause, and the stars will share their stories." Ilara sat within the circle, folding her legs beneath her. She tilted her head back, gazing at the night sky. The stars seemed closer here, bright enough that she felt she could reach out and pluck one from the dark. As she watched, they began to shift, slowly at first, then in gentle arcs, forming shapes and patterns unlike any constellation she had known. Images blossomed across the heavens, a great river winding endlessly, a mountain cloaked in snow, a bird soaring with wings that shimmered like silver. Each image flowed into the next, weaving together, a story painted in light. The forest whispered in time with the shifting stars. These are the dreams of the world. They rise and fall like tides, carried by those who have walked before you and those who will walk after. They do not end, they simply change their shape. Ilara watched, entranced, till a deep peace filled her, as if the very sky were breathing with her, matching her heartbeat, her inhale and exhale. She closed her eyes for a moment, and when she opened them again, she was not alone. Across the circle, seated among the stones, was a figure cloaked in soft light. Their form was indistinct, neither man nor woman, old nor young, simply a presence shaped of glow and shadow, as though born from the starlight itself. Ilara's breath caught, but the presence radiated such calm that she felt no fear. "Who are you?" she asked softly. The figure's voice was like the rustle of leaves at night, layered and resonant. "I am one who dreamed here long ago. The forest holds my whisper still. And now I sit with you." Ilara lowered her gaze in quiet respect. "Why are you here?" To remind you," the figure replied gently, "that you are part of this song. You walk among the trees, you drink from the streams, you breathe beneath the stars, and so you belong. There is no need to search so restlessly. The world has already made space for you." The words sank deep into her heart. For so long she had wandered, unsure where she fit, uncertain if she would ever feel at home. And here, in the soft glow of the meadow, beneath the shifting constellations, the answer came like a gentle tide. She was already home, wherever she allowed herself to rest. The figure rose slowly, their form shimmering. "Stay a while," they said. "The forest will keep you safe. In time, you will walk onward, but tonight you need only dream." Then, as softly as mist dissolves in morning light, the figure faded, leaving only the starlit meadow and the whisper of leaves. Ilara lay down in the grass, the silver blades cool and soft against her skin. Above her, the stars continued their slow, endless dance, telling stories with their shifting glow. The forest sang quietly, a harmony of wind, water, and the faint hum of life all around. Her eyes grew heavy, and she let them close. The last thing she felt was the grass swaying gently beneath her, cradling her like a mother's arms, and the knowledge that she was held by something vast and eternal. She drifted into sleep. Her dreams carried upward into the starry sky, joining the endless story whispered by the forest When Ilara woke, dawn was already spilling across the meadow. The grass sparkled with dew, each drop catching the light like a jewel. The air was cool and clear, filled with the faint scent of blossoms that only opened with the morning sun. She sat up slowly, stretching as though her body had melted into the earth during the night. The memory of the starlit figure lingered, soft and steady within her chest. It had not been a dream, not fully. The warmth of its words still glowed within her, like embers that would not fade. As she stood, the meadow seemed to stir in greeting. The flowers opened wider, the silver grass rippled gently, and the whispers returned, as constant and kind as breath. "Good morning, traveler." Ilara smiled. "Good morning." She left the dreamer's circle and began walking once more. The path was not marked, yet it unfolded beneath her feet, as though the forest had already chosen the way. She walked without hurry, her steps light and unburdened. For the first time in many months, her heart felt calm. She no longer carried the restless ache that had driven her from her village. The great, towering trees thinned, their trunks spaced wider apart. Shafts of sunlight reached the earth more freely, warming patches of wildflowers and soft ferns. A stream ran beside her for a while, its waters murmuring like a friend who walked at her side. As the hours passed, she realized the whispers were no longer guiding her deeper, but gently leading her outward. "You have listened," the forest said, "its many voices braided together like a song. You have rested, and now it is time." Ilara paused. A part of her wanted to remain here forever, within this sanctuary of quiet and endless wonder. Yet another part, calm and assured, understood. The forest was not a place to keep her captive. It was a place to remind her of what she already carried within. "Will I ever return?" she asked softly. The trees swayed overhead, their leaves rustling with tenderness. All who walk here leave behind a whisper. And so, you're always with us. Whether your feet return or not, your breath, your dreams, your rest, they live here now. And we will remember you. The words filled her eyes with gentle tears, not of sorrow, but of gratitude. She touched the nearest tree, resting her palm against its warm bark, and closed her eyes. Thank you," she whispered. The forest answered in a hush that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "And thank you." The path widened, the air brightened, and soon she found herself at the edge of the forest. Beyond lay a rolling meadow, the same one where her journey had begun. The grasses swayed in the morning wind, carrying with them the songs of distant birds. The world outside felt familiar, yet somehow new, brighter, gentler, as though she were seeing it for the very first time. She stood for a while at the boundary, gazing back into the trees. The forest loomed quiet and timeless, its shadows deep and inviting. The silver lines on the trunks glimmered faintly, catching the light like threads of memory. Ilara bowed her head in gratitude, then stepped forward into the meadow. The sun climbed higher as she walked, warming her face and shoulders. Each step felt lighter than the last. She no longer wondered where her path would take her or what she was meant to seek. The forest had given her something greater than answers. It had given her peace. She knew now that she did not have to carry her restlessness like a burden. She could pause whenever she wished, breathe with the world around her, and know that she was part of its song. Ilara walked until the meadow gave way to a small hill. She climbed it slowly, savoring the softness of the earth beneath her feet. At the top, she turned back once more. The whispering forest stretched behind her, vast and endless, its trees rising like ancient guardians of the land. For a moment she swore she could still hear its voices. Quiet, tender, like the echo of a lullaby that never faded. Go well, traveler, they seemed to say, or carry the silence with you. Ilara closed her eyes, breathing deeply. The wind stirred her hair, the sun warmed her face, and she smiled. When she opened her eyes, she turned toward the road ahead and began to walk, steady and unhurried. The world felt wide and full of wonder, not something to conquer, but something to rest within. Each step was no longer a search, but a continuation of the song she had discovered beneath the trees. And though she left the forest behind, its whispers lived within her, calm, eternal, guiding her gently forward.